This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
So yesterday, Big Baby Jarrell Miller was officially pulled from the June 1st fight against Anthony Joshua at Madison Square Garden in New York for Joshua's WBA, IBF, WBO and IBO World Unified Heavyweight titles. Okay, it turned out that Big Baby Jarrell Miller didn't just have the one substance in his system, he had three, which was GW1516, EPO and HGH. So, and he's admitted this as well. Now, I'm not getting into that one on this video. What I'm getting into is the fact that a lot of people are saying that Joshua must fight Luis Ortiz. For me, I would love to see him take on Luis Ortiz. And I'm sure most of you guys echo that. But a lot of it is coming from the Wilder fanatics. Okay, these guys who are just delusional, just want to hate on Joshua, and these guys have this delusion that Wilder can do whatever he wants and we're going to protect him, but Joshua must do this and Joshua must do that and everyone else must do this and must do that. That's kind of like their mentality. And for us, we would love to see Luis Ortiz, first of all, because it's a decent fight. Second of all, it's the kind of fighter that people would love for Joshua's US debut. Why? Because people know Luis Ortiz, okay? Or Adam Kownacki and so on. Now, there's no issue with people wanting that fight, okay? But ultimately, let's be real, Joshua has an absolutely stellar resume, okay? He's defeated 6 of the top 15 ranked in Wilder's WBC ranking so far. On top of that, he's also beaten Klitschko. So if, in theory, Joshua is entitled to fight whoever the hell he wants. As he's a champion of the 3 main sanctioning bodies, he has a pool of 45 fighters. Well, actually, it's a bit less because some fighters are ranked in more than one organisation, but you get what it is that I'm saying. So he could fight anybody he chooses. So Joshua doesn't have to do anything, Wilder fanatics, okay? And if you guys are saying that he must fight Luis Ortiz or it's a duck, first of all, he's already said he wants to fight Luis Ortiz, okay? This is the first name that he wants. Whether you want to believe that or not, that's the name that he wants. And as I did the video yesterday, Luis Ortiz is saying that he's quite happy to take this fight, but the PBC are blocking it. So if you guys really want that fight, you need to get on the backside of the PBC and stand up to those people that you love, i.e. Al Haymon. Why are they blocking this man from earning 7 million plus? Why? Because they want him on standby as a potential fighter for Wilder. Why? Because they want to keep Wilder away from Joshua. Now, again, I have no issues with people wanting the Luis Ortiz fight. I would love that fight. Joshua would love that fight. Much you guys would love that fight, no matter whether you're a Joshua fan or not. You guys would love that fight. And for quite some time, again, I've also seen this, that people are saying that Joshua should fight Luis Ortiz and Dillian Whyte should fight Luis Ortiz. And suddenly now that Joshua's saying, I want to fight Luis Ortiz, the very same people are going, well, yeah, of course he wants Luis Ortiz, because he's not going to fight a Joe Joyce, is he? He's not going to fight a Kownacki. He wants to fight an old man. This is the mentality of these people. They just twist it. So they call for something when it looks like something may happen or progress is being stepped toward it. Suddenly there's excuses, right? Now, for those of you who are anti-Anthony Joshua and saying that Joshua is ducking Luis Ortiz, well, quite clearly I've just told you that he's not. But you have every right to insist on this fight if you've been jumping up and down on Wilder's back. Not only for the fact that he turned down $120 million to fight Brazil and then back-to-back undisputed fights with Anthony Joshua, but let's go back in time for some of Deontay Wilder's opponents who have failed PED tests, okay? So, first one, he got mandated to defend his title against Alexander Povetkin. He lost the purse bid for $7 million. Yes, somehow he's got $50 million to offer Joshua, right? Anyway, he lost that purse bid. He got forced to go over to Russia, okay? And prior to going to Russia, he was training here in the UK, in the north of England, in Sheffield, okay? And Alexander Povetkin popped for a substance that was previously legal, but they'd recently banned it, but they gave all athletes time to cycle it out of their system. So they found a trace of it in Povetkin's system. It was within the limit, so first of all, the fight should have happened. But second of all, he passed the B sample. Okay, so that fight should have happened, but before the B sample was even drawn, Wilder jumped on the plane from Sheffield, went all the way back to Alabama. Okay, WBC backed him, all that kind of thing, which is why Povetkin wasn't banned at that particular point. Now, what was it that Deontay Wilder did when Povetkin failed. Okay, I'll tell you what he done. He fought Chris Arreola. Yep, Chris Arreola. Now, Chris Arreola, gatekeeper, journeyman, all that kind of thing, if you like. He's probably a level above journeyman, okay? But at this point, he'd already had 4 losses and a draw, okay? And Chris Arreola, his fights before Wilder were pretty embarrassing. In fact, the very fight before he fought Wilder, he fought Travis Kaufman. The judges gave it to Chris Arreola as a win, but then changed it to a no contest. Why? Because Chris Arreola failed a drug test. Very next fight, he gets a world title shot against Wilder. 7 months later, because he had to serve a 6-month ban. But even though in that fight with Chris Arreola, regardless of the drug ban, or the fact that he had something in his system, most people say he lost that fight. And he got gifted that decision. But either way, it's changed to a no contest, okay? So go look on Boxrec, you can fight yourself. The fight before that, he got a draw against a gatekeeper in Fred Cassie. Okay, he got a draw against him. He did beat Curtis Harper on points. Well done. But before then, he got smoothed out by Bermane Stiverne. So Chris Arreola was the bar. So it's okay for Wilder to fight Chris Arreola after Povetkin failed, but Joshua must face who you guys want, say Luis Ortiz, because Miller popped dirty. So if you was saying at the time that what Wilder done was disgusting by fighting Chris Arreola of all people when he had a whole plethora of other fighters who are more worthy than Chris Arreola, then fine, you have every right to say that Joshua should be fighting Luis Ortiz. Let's look at the other one. Deontay Wilder was going to fight Andre Wawrzyk. Who? Exactly. Okay, Wilder was going to fight Andre Wawrzyk. First of all, people should have been jumping up and down about that fight. I certainly was, and I know a few people were, but I'm pretty sure the Wilder fanatics weren't. Well, in fact, he didn't have any fanatics back then. But either way, Andre Wawrzyk failed a PED test. So who did Wilder fight? Gerald Washington. Why would he fight Gerald Washington? Again, he had a whole pool of heavyweights, but chose Gerald Washington. Why? Because when he met Gerald Washington shook his hand and smiled at him. So again, if you were jumping up and down about the fact that Wilder took Gerald Washington, yes, you have every right to say that Joshua should fight Luis Ortiz. If you didn't, then again, you have no right, much like you had no right if you wasn't jumping up and down over Chris Arreola. Let's look at the other one. When Luis Ortiz was supposed to fight Wilder the first time round, and Luis Ortiz failed the PED test because he didn't put the high blood pressure medication on the form. So again, this very same guy you want Joshua to fight has had 2 previous convictions of failing PED test. But regardless, Luis Ortiz didn't put the high blood pressure medication on the form, so he got dropped from that fight. He didn't get suspended, but the WBA did. I disagree with the WBA for suspending for that. But anyway, the point is, when that fight got called off against Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder, who is it that Wilder fought? Bermane Stiverne, a guy who he had already defeated, yeah? But you guys were okay with that. In a fight where even Showtime didn't want to put that fight on TV. Yes, he was mandatory. But why was he mandatory? Because of the relationship between the WBC and Don King. But you guys were okay about that. And when he knocked out Bermane Stiverne, just like I predicted that he would, you guys were claiming like it was the best thing since sliced bread. It was the second coming of Jesus Christ. Okay, so that's 3. So when Wilder had 3 opponents pop for PEDs, well, the first one technically he didn't with Povetkin, but we're going to go with the fact that he did. Okay, he fought Chris Arreola. Then he wanted to fight Andre Wawrzyk, but then he ended fighting Gerald Washington. And then he ended fighting Bermane Stiverne. So if you guys were jumping up and down about Wilder fighting those 3, you have every right to say, we want Joshua to fight Ortiz. If you wasn't telling Wilder that he should go fight some of these top guys, then you need to sit down and shut the hell up, is what you need to do. Joshua has every right to have a cherry pick if he wants. He's not after a cherry pick. He wants Luis Ortiz. Okay? It's not difficult to understand Wilder fanatics. So you and your double standards need to get to the back of the bus and shut up. Because you guys weren't doing this when Wilder fought Chris Arreola, when Wilder fought Gerald Washington, when Wilder fought Bermane Stiverne for the second time. You weren't saying that. So therefore, you have no place in this world to say who it is that Joshua should or should not fight. Joshua always fights the top guys in the world. He always does that. He's been doing it since the Dillian Whyte fight. Anyway, that's my thoughts. You drop me yours. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.